What are those things?
They look like robots.
Battle android troopers! Forward and destroy!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to take a look at the Super 7 Ultimates G.I. Joe Cobra Bat. This is the comic version. This is the Sdcc exclusive. This is the very first figure for the G.I. Joe Ultimates, so we get to see the size, scale, and kind of what to expect for the rest of the line. We're also going to compare it to the regular Bat, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts at the end about what I think about Super 7 Ultimates and how it compares and stacks up to a classified. We're talking about all this and more coming up. All right, so let's start off by looking at the packaging. This is the brown box that it all comes in. Then we have this slip cover, which looks really nice, by the way. Comes over this, and then we have the actual box itself. Now, the packaging is great. There's all kinds of accessories in there. You can see it. You could actually display this just fine like this, I guess, but still, here's the back of the packaging, which is kind of cool. It's got some words and stuff about the bat. And so we don't really get file cards and that kind of stuff. So I guess we're going to be getting file cards and stuff on this. So pretty cool, pretty interesting, premium packaging. First thing I want to say, right out of the box, I had 3 thoughts just immediately taken out of the box. Number one, he is huge. He is so much bigger than what I'm used to seeing with G.I. Joe Classified and handling Classifieds. So a much bigger, I was really wanting these to blend in with Classified, and they are definitely going to be their own thing. Now, I think that a couple of characters can work, so we'll find that out when they come. But the second thing was that he does feel loose overall, and the backpack. We'll get into the backpack piece. But like the head feels loose, and just the legs just not as tight as I would like, but not the end of the world though. So he holds every pose, and I don't really have any problems with posing him at all whatsoever, but it just felt loose. I just expected a little bit more friction on those joints. And then the third thing is tons and tons of accessories for this guy. But of course, bats come with a lot of accessories. That's just the way it is. So let's start by taking a look at these accessories. All right, starting out with the hands, you do get 2 fist hands, which that's kind of cool. If you need them. I'm not much for the fist hand. I want my hands doing stuff. You do get these grasping hands, like he's grabbing, and be great for like if you want to make it look like he's grabbing for something. They don't really hold anything. Maybe you can make them sort of hold something bigger. So I mean, think about the grasping hand could probably hold something that's a lot bigger than this. So we'll come back to that too. Then you have trigger hands, 2 trigger hands. Now there's the right trigger hand, you get 2 of those, you get 1 left trigger hand. And the thing is that you go side to side and up and down on this joint here. So yeah, right here is up and down. The other one is side to side. So that's why you get those. And then, yeah, there's the other fist hand. So lots of hands getting into a destroyed looking face. We can do some destroyed looking stuff here in a bit. So an extra head. This plugs into his chest. And then we get this extra backpack, which is from some scene from some show. You get these purple pieces in here, which are removable. I feel like I broke something. I always feel like I'm breaking something on that. What I'm thinking is like this grasping hand could probably somehow hold one of these, which is like that, or something along those lines. So that would be like the grasping hand. It would look something like this, him holding whatever he's holding with that grasping hand. Inside of this barrel backpack, there's all kinds of extra added little detail and cool stuff right there. And then there's the back of it. Now it does plug on to his shoulders, but we'll do it very carefully. We have these 2 slots where these 2 tabs go. Now I do want to tell you that I heard somebody somewhere broke theirs. Let me do this carefully off camera. So yeah, somebody had broken their tabs is what I heard, I guess. And so I'm being very super ultra careful with that because I don't want to break them. I do not want to break those. So I do understand people complain about Super 7 quality, QA, quality assurance, all that kind of stuff. But you just got to be careful with this stuff, I guess. I mean, it's the way it is. It is a higher end collectible, and yes, the materials should hold. But I'm having trouble plugging in either of the backpacks on this side. But I guess his right side plugs in okay, but his left side has some trouble. Getting into the rest of his accessories. So we do have this gun that comes with a machine gun there, looking really good. Now, as you can see, his hand, he has the trigger finger that goes inside the trigger. That looks really good. I like how little small touches like that. And then over here we have one of his flamethrower or something. I think that's a flamethrower or something along those lines. Anyway, I'm not really sure about that. Now, these do plug in and out just like this, and they plug in pretty tight, and it's actually quite satisfying. They plug in really well, hold in really well. Some of the hands don't hold in as well. I guess I went off camera with that. The backpack itself looks fantastic, and now it's one of those where it's got holes in it, so you plug them in like so. I'm not pushing too hard because I don't want to break any of that stuff off in there, but it does kind of hold it okay, but not the best. It's probably too tight of a hold, and so I don't want to push it too hard. And he does have this little pistol that goes down here in holsters, and he's got a strap for the holster. Nice looking pistol. This is one of those things that we didn't get back, in the 80s, so it's nice that we get it with Classified, nice that we get it with this Super 7 version. So looking pretty good. So now let's take a look at these other attachments. There's the other trigger hand. I did put that in the backpack. So forgot about that one. So there's 2 full sets of trigger hands, and then we're going to get into these attachments right here. Scroll down. Now we have kind of a drill looking attachment looking piece. I forgot exactly what these are called, these attachments. And then we have the claw. The claw. So very classic retro looking, super awesome. And they got some nice shiny paint to them. So looking nice, shiny, and silver. Okay, so here he is with his battle damage head. Now, how to get this plastic cover off? You pull the strap aside, and there's a tab right here to help you pull off this clear plastic piece. But I don't really want to. As you can see, there's a hole in there, and then that's where you would plug this on. And I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to use this option at all. Just kind of, hey, this is what it's going to look like. I actually don't care about that option. Some of the hands fall off pretty easy. Pop that head back on pretty easy. Pop the hand back on. So as I pointed out, for whatever reason, the attachments hold on better, but the hands a little bit don't hold on as well. So still pretty cool overall. Let's take a look at the paint scheme and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm gonna leave the backpack off. I think that they should have done something different with the backpack. I don't like really how the backpack is so fragile and doesn't hold on very well. Okay, looking at the face, we've got some nice silver on it right there. We got paint on the shoulders. It's got a little medallion. Love all of the intricate paint inside there. And once you see that hole exists, then your eye's drawn to it. The paint should have painted inside that hole also, but it did not. This is kind of cool. This is a separate glued strap here, and it is a strap, and you got a couple of non-removable bombs. You got some paint on the belt. You got whatever this is on the side here, which is probably reminiscent of the toy, and you've got his paint here. It all looks pretty good. There is articulation right there, and I'm not really going to go through like a full articulation. There's not much articulation with this guy. He doesn't have a whole lot, but I'm going to do a comparison articulation to Classified. So I'm going to see how much further Classified goes than this one. Looking at the back, now they gave a nice clean back. There's no hole in it, and that's why they did the backpack the way they did, in case you want him to not have a backpack. Who wants a bat, no backpack? I don't know, but some paint on the strap right there, which is really cool, which is different from this strap. So, and then this is connected right here, kind of glued on, I think. So really a nice looking overall, very classic look. And I haven't had any paint flaws, even in this beautiful Cobra symbol right there. So no paint flaws or anything, but biggest flaw right now is the backpack. All right, so here he is among a collection of Gijoe Classified. Now you're going to see that he is significantly taller and bigger. Like the head's much bigger. He's taller. I mean, you can sort of swing it with probably the bats because they are bigger. But when you start looking at, is Duke going to be this big? Is Cobra Commander going to be this big? That's when we start seeing a couple of flaws in mixing the two lines, so they might not mix very well. So anyway, but looking at this, this is much bigger, much bigger, but looks good. Now, I have to say, he stands better than some of these. A couple of these fell over while I was trying to set this up, and he doesn't. You know, I can just pick him up, do whatever with him, and then just set him back down, and he has no problem standing, even with slightly loose joints on there. So with that, I'm going to give that to him, partially because he has less articulation, though. He is a little bit more stable. Let's stack him up against some of the bigger figures that they put out for the Classified line with the Two of my favorites, sort of, in a way. It's Roadblock and Gung Ho. I actually like the revised versions of those more. But anyway, they're big figures, though. They're big characters, and they still don't quite stack up to them. But I can kind of see this on the battlefield. I can see these two going up against this guy. So this would be something where bats would work, right? Now, size comparison versus the bat for Gijoe Classified, as you can see, way bigger. Way bigger. It's like almost one looks like it could be the daddy, one be the mommy, and then they could have some kids. Might look something like this. Yeah, there's a nice little size comparison for the vintage Cobra Bat to Classified to Super 7. So you can kind of get an idea here. So what does the Cobra Bat have in common with rabbits? All right, so let's just take a good look at these two and kind of some articulation. So one of the first things I noticed that was way limited in articulation for Super 7 was the elbow. Let me take that backpack off. So this elbow right here is quite limited for the articulation. When you have Super 7 has that double jointed elbow, so you can get quite a bit. You can still get even more range than this, but you can see the difference. If you push up on this a little bit more, you can get a little more range out of that, but that's more than I'll ever really need. So yeah, you can see that you're already going to see a little bit of kind of limitations with your posing with these because of that. Then when you get to the leg, this one's probably not the best. So you can go that far forward with this one, which I think you could still get about that out of Super 7. So that's about the same, but you get a double jointed knee. So let's kind of do that comparison. I guess that's the best way I can show how much more range you can get on that knee. So you get a lot more range with the Classified. Then again, you sort of break up the sculpt a bit with all of this knee stuff. On the black version, you don't see all the cuts as bad, and plus there's all that detail that kind of goes in there. You don't break up the sculpt so much on this one. And so this one's more for sculpt and looking super G1. This one is more for crazy articulation if you want them all to look like Spider-Man on the wall or something. Last quick comparison is the shoulder. Now you can get this shoulder only goes out that far. I'm shocked that it only goes out that far. And then if you adjust it around, it's kind of a sideways, it can go out that far. And as you can see, this goes up this high, and then that you've got all that range. So a lot more range in the shoulders, but still, again, it's up to the sculpt versus the articulation. Okay, so what are my thoughts on Super 7 Ultimates versus Gijoe Classified? Classified is still cheaper, roughly half the price-ish of these figures. So half the price. More articulation Classified, much more classic look that I want coming from Super 7. So there's going to be less releases. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to keep up with Gijoe Classified, and you're going to spend about the same amount if you buy one of every figure for Gijoe Classified versus one of every figure for this. Then you'll end up with twice as many Gijoe Classifieds as this. But if you're more satisfied with the classic look you get right here than kind of the more modern take you get with these guys, then you'd probably be happier with Super 7. I'm going to kind of get both, keep up with both, and then I might end up dropping one. Now, I'm not going to drop Classified entirely, and here's why. Because I don't think Super 7's going to make as many characters as Hasbro. I don't think this line is going to go 315 characters deep. I think we might see 50, 60, 70 characters. Now, Brian Flynn said he's in it for like a decade on this, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just know that Gijoe Classified will get more characters out faster, and you'll have them, even though they'll be smaller and they really won't mix very well. So I'm going to have to kind of keep up with both. And I think troop building at $55 is hard. Troop building at $22, $23 is a lot easier. It's twice as easy. So that's where we're going to kind of run into some trouble here. What if you want to get 3 bats, which I have pre-ordered, or you want to get 3 troopers, which I think is enough to look like you got a little troop going on. I don't think you need 50s. But I really do like this figure. I like the fact that it feels solid, it stands well, it has a lot of accessories. For $55, it's a bit on the expensive side, but I do kind of feel like you get some of that value out of it with all the accessories, and it does feel pretty good. All the joints are a bit loose and flimsy, but that actually makes it easier to pose without feeling like you're going to break anything. That backpack is a terrible design, and I can see why people are breaking it. I'm glad people gave me a heads up not to break mine and all of that kind of stuff too. So, anyhow, let me know what you guys think. Are you in on Super 7? Are you in on Classified? Are you do kind of what I'm doing and do a little of both or maybe a lot of both? I don't know. Like and subscribe. Try to your finger out.
Hand combat Joes. Ah! That's Sergeant Slaughter. He must have picked up Dial Tone's message.
Come on, you guys. I could use a little help.
Who is this guy anyway? Man, you are looking at a real soldier.